Professor Yi-Chun Chien, today is International Migrant Workers Day, and labor activists are protesting in Taipei. What sort of conditions are migrant workers facing in Taiwan?
We have implemented migrant worker policies since 1992, so it's almost more than 30 years now. And the common conditions they are facing right now, we have this private kind of market system. We don't recruit like in South Korea. So usually when one migrant worker is coming to Taiwan, they have to go through specific agency or specific brokers to have the connection to the specific employers. So they are in a way very vulnerable to that specific employers. A lot of times they are facing very abusive working environments. They are facing sexual assaults at private households. Those are the conditions that the government and the police are really hard to detect and very hard to find out. So those are the very vulnerable position and situation they are facing.
What lies behind Taiwan's two-tiered system where migrant workers and other white-collar workers have different rights when they come to work in Taiwan, and how does the government defend these kinds of policies?
So this is a very good question about two-tier system. And I think it doesn't really only exist in Taiwan. It actually exists globally in every country. So we have different policy to recruit high-skilled workers versus low to unskilled workers. Those are the jobs that we usually call 3D jobs, dangerous, difficult, and also those are the kind of jobs that local Chinese workers would not want to take on those jobs. We need those workers to come, but we actually don't want them to come. So in a way, we kind of, and from the economic perspective, there is a very famous argument about numbers versus rights. So for low skill or unskilled workers, if we want to recruit a big number, a huge amount of them, that's big in number, then we provide very little in the rights.
The new Labour Minister Hong Soon-han has long been a champion of improved conditions and recognizing the human rights of migrant workers. What sort of policies can he and the government initiate to improve upon these conditions?
There are a lot of things that government can do. For example, as I mentioned earlier, migrant care workers are still excluded from Labor Standard Act, whereas the rest of the migrant workers are protected under Labor Standard Act. The second thing is that currently in Taiwan, migrant workers are facing a hard time to change the employer. So when they came to Taiwan and they found they don't like the working environment, there are some things they don't like. In Taiwan, if you're local citizens, if you don't like your working environment, you can just quit, right? You can find another new job. But if you're migrant workers, you cannot do that. Currently, we ask them to have the approval of the current employer, which is really hard because they have the problem labor disputes are happening. So it's really hard for the workers to have the current employer's approval to transfer the employer. So hopefully in the future, with under the current new minister, we can try to work on the policy to make it easier for the migrant workers to change the employer.